All right, JJK Season 3, Episode 7 came out last week. And I know I'm late on this and I'm making this video 1 week later, but that's because I was really busy last week. I couldn't get that video out. And there was a recap episode this week that I don't really see that's being aired, but at the same time, Crunchyroll has no episode out. We're going to get an episode next week, so I just thought maybe I'll do the JJK episode a week from the actual release, so I get this episode or this video out, and then next week's episode I'll do it as well. There was one piece of videos that I came out with, so at least you guys saw some of that. But for now, JJK Season 3 Episode 7, let's talk about it today. And before we get started, I did just beat Trails Beyond the Horizon, the 13th game in the Trails series, the Kiseki series, right? Kai no Kiseki. Phenomenal game. If you guys know the series, if you guys play it, leave comments down below. This video is not about that, so just wanted to leave that here. Love that game. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Let's get into the JJK stuff. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but Mappa is doing such good art direction with this. I mean, it's in the manga, and shout out Gigi as well, right? Gigi seems to have had the anime in mind writing these panels, because the way this flows is so good. I mean, the way that, Kenjaku shows up to Itadori's friend from high school, or yeah, right, it's high school, I think. But friend from high school from back in season 1, episode 1, right? The occult club that he had with these two people. And basically, Kenjaku's being a nice guy, right? Kenjaku's not a villain. He's letting these people leave the colonies if they don't want to participate in the Culling games. You have a choice to leave. Hey, sorry, kind of ruining your hometown, but you get a choice to leave. All right, I want to leave. So she leaves, and then there's that big punchline in it where, before that, I love the imagery that it shows that, Kenjaku's walking with her and not off the bridge, but on the bridge, and then you see those, massive spirits in the back, her spirits fighting each other. Some cool stuff there. But then the big point is that Kenjaku says, thank you for being friends with my son. This is now something that was revealed back in season 3, episode 2, where we got to see a glimpse of Itadori's mom. And, I said that in the episode, or the video I made for that episode, where I said there was a reveal there, but I'm not going to touch upon it because it'll basically be set out later. But it was kind of a hint at it, right? So basically, we saw Itadori's mom, and Itadori's mom in season 3, episode 2, they showed stitches on her forehead, implying that Kenjaku was using that body as a host. So throughout the years, right, he took over Narutoshi Kamo, which was the creation of the painting rooms, which is part of Chozo's family. And the reason why Chozo had a schizophrenic dream and thought Itadori as his brother and kept saying, Itadori, you're my brother. Even in episode 1 or episode 2 of the season, Chozo said that, think about it, your dad must have had stitches on his forehead. And Itadori's like, no, he did not. Or maybe he didn't reply, but, basically, the dad didn't have stitches. The mom did. Kenjaku took one for the team, right? It's all for the goal of his master plan. My man gave birth to Itadori. So shout out Kenjaku, I guess. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, Chozo was right? Itadori is his actual brother because they are both the creations of the spirit Kenjaku. So Itadori, Chozo, somehow, some way, end up becoming brothers. And yeah, that's just kind of the big reveal and kind of the final nail in the coffin to confirm and let everyone know that Kenjaku is Itadori's mother. Yeah. And from there, now we get to kind of 5 minutes before what happened in the previous episode where the Kogane shows up and, tells them about the rules and stuff and how a new rule has been added. And I like how they explain, or it's cool how this happens, but basically, given that Sukuna was part of Kenjaku's plan, or not part of his plan, but basically they have a pact together, Itadori is technically part of the Culling games because Sukuna is meant to be part of the Culling games. So the Megumi doesn't have it yet. Hikari doesn't have it yet. Nobody in that group has it yet except for Itadori because Sukuna is part of that plan, right? Is part of the Culling games. So Itadori has to join. Obviously, they were going to join, but it's cool to see that Kogane shows up because of that, and they explain that for that reason. And then basically they're like, all right, let's start, entering these colonies. We got to get started, and we got to find people that have high points so we can take those points, or somehow, some way, make them use these points to create the rule for Megumi's sister. And they decide on basically 2 people, Kashimo, because Kashimo has a lot of points, which is someone that was revealed in last week's episode right at the end, and then also Higuruma, who has yet to be shown or revealed, but that's my go. So they're basically saying, okay, we got to find these two and let's split up. And the split up is basically Itadori and Megumi, which Itadori is not happy about. He does not want to be part of Megumi's team because if something happens, he knows Sukuna is interested in Megumi and he doesn't want to be with Megumi. Get me as far away from Megumi as possible. And Megumi's like, stop complaining. We're on a team together. And then Panda and Hikari are on a team together now. So they both join separate colonies. And they knock on the door, and basically Kogane shows up, and he's like, you want to join? You sure you want to join? And then Megumi's like, yeah, I want to join. And then they get entered on some Fortnite stuff. They get dropped into the map, right? Itadori gets flown in, and then Itadori gets caught off rip, right? So just right when the whole battle royale starts, he gets spawn camped by these helicopter head, jet head people. And Itadori kind of takes out the jet head really quick, chucks that rock at her and she just falls, and then the helicopter man's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that, blah blah blah. They fight each other. So Itadori's taking some dubs here. This is not, these are kind of like fodder units, right? These are people that, like, they're not meant to be big deals. They're just kind of there, and Itadori gets to fight them. And then on Megumi's end, Megumi spawns somewhere else, and he spawns near this girl, and then basically they're both like, where is Higuruma, right? They're trying to find Higuruma. They're trying to look for him, and they both get these connections in the girl, and then also Itadori meets this one kid who has the blonde, black hair. Turns out he's from Itadori's hometown, because he says, like, oh, you're like the tiger of West Middle School, I think he said. Basically stating, like, he knew about Itadori because, if you guys remember, again, this is part of Itadori's character, but he was, like, physically gifted. This man was, like, chucking Olympic world record levels of, like, shot put, I think it was, in the first episode or two. And he was running crazy, like, he jumped like 3 stories in the first episode. So he was always physically gifted, so I guess he made a name for himself through that. And then this kid obviously knows him from that, so he's like, I know you, you don't know me, I guess. And then so Itadori and Megumi basically have their counterparts to lead them to Higuruma. And Remy, which is with Megumi right now, this is some great visualization from the direction of the anime. It was in the manga as well, but I love how the anime does it as well, just portraying it in a more visual way, because manga, obviously, it stands still, so a lot less to show there. But in the anime, the direction that they take, it shows that, like, left side's green, right side's red, and basically there's a split ahead, and Megumi and Itadori get split on this, right? So Remy and Megumi go one direction, and then it reveals that this character that from Itadori's middle school, his name is Rin Amai, and Amai takes Itadori in the other direction. And at the end of the episode, which they did great, is both of them both say that Higuruma is in, and then one says Shinjuku, and the other one says Ikebukuro. Probably butchered that name, but obviously that's not my native language, so I cannot really pronounce it. But this is great stuff, right? So basically, Itadori and Megumi, one of them is getting lied to, at least, right? One of them is getting lied to. It's either, Amai or Remy said the truth, or Amai or Remy said the lie, and we're gonna find out, obviously, right? So not much outside of these happened. It was more like, just action, some dialogue between characters, that big reveal with the Kenjaku stuff, even though it was revealed in the past. And then, yeah, it's more of just setup for what's to come. Obviously, now this is the official start of the Culling games, right? They have joined the Culling games finally, so now we're in it. This is about to start amping up real quick, real fast. But obviously, everything is the setup for what's to come, and this was more of a setup episode. But I loved it. Again, shout out to Mappa. This has been, I've said this once and I'll say it again. I've said this in like most of my videos that I've made. Mappa is doing a phenomenal job from a manga to anime adaptation. And with that being said, that is the end of the episode. If I forgot anything, please remind me in the comments down below. I did watch this episode last week and I'm trying to recall on it, even though I'm like watching it here and there between this episode of making this video. But it's more of a recollection than watching the full thing and making a video off of it. So a little bit harder this week. But next week's video will come out on time, I promise. And it is one that I will not miss for sure. So be hyped for that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.